question would be, what was the impulse that led you to compose reggae music?
The impulse has been, to begin with, as a child at school, I was always into poetry. When I, as much as learning how to make words rhyme, and as I, grew up, I realized that with my love for reggae music and the love for the musicians that were out at the time, like Burning Spear, the Wailers, and everything else, that we as a band could have a goal at putting music together based on the poetry that I started out doing as a child. Although the poetry was about you and me by the sea, and 1, 2, 3, do, re, mi, because it's reggae music and the quality of life that was happening in reggae music, which was both political and also one of suppression as well. The lyrics transformed and my ideals transformed to putting songs together that was about suppression. So that's how we, especially myself, got married to reggae music.
Then I will ask you for sure question. What sounds or artists would you define as your biggest influence at the time of creating music?
I just mentioned Bob Marley and the Wailers. Of course, he's first and foremost. Burning Spear is also has a very high ranking as far as his input in our lives, is putting music together. Third World was also significant in what we were doing. There was also Aswad was also one of those contemporary influences. Matumbi, which is another British reggae band that gave us the theatrical side. The way we dressed as a band, they were pretty much one of our biggest influences. The Wailing Souls, Gladiators, so many of them that was happening at the time. John Holt, a solo artist, Ken Booth as another solo artist, Delroy Wilson as a solo artist. You name it. They all played a part in putting the energy of Steel Pulse together.
From the very beginning of your career with Steel Pulse to present day, how would you analyze the evolution of reggae music as a culture?
The evolution has been one of very great difficulties. Nevertheless, reggae did evolve, but it was not easy to evolve. As you know, it started out in Jamaica, and at the time, by the time it get to the Rastafarian movement to be involved in reggae music, it was not easy because of the fight Rasta was getting within the Jamaican society, and so it was not easy for Rasta to be expressing themselves in the music because of the way they were treated outside of the music. So we, as blacks born in Britain, adopted the Rastafarian philosophy within the music, and also helped to develop the British reggae music scene. And that was not easy because we had people that were black communities throughout England, especially our community of Birmingham and Handsworth, where they were not quite ready to accept totally the reggae music that was coming out of England, because they still felt that the reggae music that was coming out of Jamaica was the original and had more potency, had more relevance to one's liberty in the United Kingdom. And in many ways it was like that, where the reggae music was had a much better sound, a much better quality, and had much better acts that were coming out at the time. England was really starting out very slow and not knowing exactly how it was really done in the studios of Jamaica. But over the years, we won the community over into accepting that reggae can be established in the United Kingdom as well by us that were actually born there. Yeah.
Is it your first time in the Canary Islands? If so, what would you highlight from your experience here?
What I highlight from my experience here, I think it remains to be seen, and I say what will stick with me more than anything else, apart from meeting, the locals and yourselves, would be the way the people respond to the music tomorrow night. I think it's a question you need to probably ask me after the event. Yes, because right now I've been confined in a hotel room, and the hotel, it's a wonderful hotel. I could see it's well kept. I could see it had a lot of history behind it. It's
really traditional.
You see, it's traditional. I see that right off the bat. But until I really go around the island, if it even for half an hour, and also see the people other than the tourists, I'd really like to see the real people, and I'm seeing real people already, which is good. I will not be able to give you a direct answer totally until I've had the full experience of performing. Okay. How do you say sorry in Spanish?
Lo siento.
Lo siento. Okay. All right. Lo siento.
Have you listened to the reggae made in Spain and in the Canary Islands? If so, what is your opinion about it?
I have not heard anything like that yet. I've heard talks of it, but I've not literally heard anything as yet. But I'm sure it's going to be good. But let me hear it.
You will hear it.
All right.
Tomorrow.
All right.
I guess.
All right.
And that's the final question. Would you like to send a message to young artists from the Canary Islands or Spain?
Well, the message I'd like to send to the young artists of Canary Islands and Spain, like the man says, lo siente? No. What I'd like to send really is a message of hope and a message of you trying to be more relentless in making the music happen, because it's not an easy music to establish when it comes to the whole scheme of things. It's hard work, but I think you need to be original in what you do and sincere in what you do, and have also perseverance, because it's easy for bands to be formed, and it's easier for them to be broken up. So that I'd like you to take on board. You've got the internet now, whereas we didn't have the internet back in the day, so we had to rely on record labels and radio stations and TVs and magazines and all these magazines and radio stations and TVs were all official and have part of the status quo. With internet now, you've got more control of your music, you've got more control of how you advertise yourself and everything else. So that's a blessing right there for you, and I think you should use it to the max. Spend more time going out there and try and do live recordings as opposed to studio recordings, where you actually go out and perform at venues. And I think you'll bring more of a following when you're performing live than you would trying to sell your music. You find that when nobody knows you, they're not that inclined to be paying for your music. So the one of the things I would advise is you print your music up and you give it away in local areas, and then you tell them that you have a show. They come and see the show, and that's where you generate your fan base and also your income, because money is not floating around like it used to be, and where record labels are giving money away left, right and center, and people are paying top dollar for LPs and CDs, and when they can copy for nothing nowadays. So I think that's one of the ways to go as far as advertising yourself, is to try and get more venues, more clubs or places to perform at, and have a base on that level. Yes, this is David Dredd of Steel Pulse, and right about now, while I'm passing through the Canary Islands, Tenerife, you big, I'm listening to Magmamusic, and Magmamusic, send me in a fever. Magmamusic, you big.
Their hands lie your destination. The book of true life you hold the key. Mystical power